Hey! Is the noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Fair enough.
Shout out to the Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. What's up, everybody? I'm Jack Frost. Check this out. I want to say something real quick. Today, kind of what we're going to be talking about, as far as politics is concerned, is the situation that's going on in New York City with the mayor and the mayoral race. I want to be clear about a couple of things because I told y'all that this was going to happen. What did I say was going to happen? And I want to be clear about what I said was going to happen. If anybody was here, you could put it in the chat if you remember. What I told you was Donald Trump was going to win. After Donald Trump wins, Eric Adams' case was going to mysteriously go away and he was going to leave the Democratic Party. What has happened? Shout out to Jamal Fareed. He says, salute Frost Mars, BBN family. Hit that like button on the way in. Share, subscribe. It's free. What happened? I told y'all, I said, Donald Trump is going to win. Eric Adams' case was going to mysteriously go away because it was never no case in the first place. They were just using it against him. It was extortion. And then Eric Adams was going to leave the party. Now check this out. This is what I keep trying to explain. And I said this back in like before the elections also, just so we could be clear. I was saying this like around September, like probably August. I was saying this. So, all right. So check this out. Let's go here first. Eric Adams admits the deep state is real. Credits Kash Patel's book for getting it right. For everybody that don't know, you can look at the thumbnail, and in the thumbnail, so apparently what had happened was there was a press conference that was held, and during this press conference he was basically, Eric Adams, speaking about the situation that's going on currently with his case. And one of the things in which he said is that he held up a book of Kash Patel's book. Appreciate you, Jamal Fareed. Yes, I did say this is a fact. Once again, and this is not meant as any slander or anything. It's not meant to be in any way disrespectful to anything, anyone, God, anyone. But either I'm really, really smart, or God is talking to me, fam. You could choose either which one, because they both positive as far as I'm concerned. I am too accurate for these to be mistakes or guesses. When was the last time I told y'all something was gonna happen and it didn't happen? Forget all the times that I said something was gonna happen and it happened. When was the last time I said that something was going to happen and then it didn't happen? So the reason why I'm pointing that out is this whole entire time, what have I been telling y'all? The Democrats had been attacking Eric Adams. So when Eric Adams gets up at that podium, shout out to Tiny. So when Eric Adams get up on that podium and he says the deep state is real, He said Kash Patel got it right. He holds up a book. Who controls the deep state? If you need to ask yourself who controls the deep state, right now, the Republicans are actively fighting against the deep state. The deep state is telling y'all that criminals from other countries that come here illegally and commit crimes while here have the right to not just stay, but to be free and exempt from prosecution. Wow, they love talking about how bad crime is in our communities. They love talking about it. They love talking about how these communities that they're trying to help all of these people in their communities and their people need help. You are the politician. You've been the politician for who knows how long. How come your people still need help in your community? If you've been a senator for 10 damn years, 20 years, 30 years, how are your constituents still suffering? Somebody else's constituents should be probably suffering because, you know, they run their area differently. But your constituents, how are they suffering? Why are all of the most crime-ridden places in America democratically run cities? I'm going to say something. So, y'all know how ever since we've been on this platform, I'm always saying, I don't tell y'all everything I know. Sometimes I just know stuff. And I don't tell y'all. I'm not going to say how I know. I just be knowing. So, I don't really have an explanation. Shout out to the Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. I just be knowing. So, when you combine that with a logical mindset, right? I have no idea why the footsteps made me. It felt like I was in a movie for a second. So I was busy thinking, and then I just heard footsteps. And like, I'm assuming y'all heard it too. I don't know if the mic picked it up or not. It's kind of quiet in here. Y'all probably hear the birds too. I have no idea. Shout out to the Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. So I want to say something, and I want to be clear about this. Then I'm going to get to the Eric Adams thing. And because I want to run through that, because I got to talk about the gang thing. There's a gang thing that I got to talk about. We have to discuss it. This is very, very important. And the main reason why I want to discuss it is because it affects our community. And that's one of the reasons why we're having this conversation right now, because I need for you to listen. Why is some of the most gang-ridden cities, or basically almost all of the most crime-ridden cities, democratically run cities? You think that's by accident? You think it's by accident that I keep saying I don't want these methadone clinics in our communities? You think that's by accident that I keep saying we got to get those out of the communities? Think that's by accident? Okay, so when we pay attention to what social engineering is, you just look at the world differently. I'm going to give you a perfect example right now. We have a Snow White situation that's going on right now with Disney. So what Disney generally does before these movies come out, and what they do is that they, like all movies, they try to create a buzz. Right? So they try to gear you and engineer you to believe that you need to accept this media for whatever the reason is. MCU is like one of the best people at doing this by making sure that they got interlocked movies and television stories and everything else. So you have to watch one to know what's happening in the other. Genius. It's just what they do in comic books, by the way. That's how I write whenever I write. In any regard. The girl that's playing Snow White completely destroyed their ability to market the movie. So what did this got to do with social engineering? How did she destroy the movie? Because she was socially engineered to be woke. So now I have to say, what was Snow White supposed to be? Do y'all understand why y'all don't like Snow White? Like, there's a ton of different reasons other than Rachel Zegler. Snow White is a story about a princess that was so pure that she had no negative thoughts. And because of her purity, she was also extremely naive and believed in the best in everyone. Do you understand? I don't think they understand what the story of Snow White is. She was the fairest of them all, not just the most physically attractive princess of them all, but the most regal as far as, isn't that like the first princess that had all of, I think she was the first princess, so of course, had all of the woodland creatures coming over to her? So the reason why that failed is because they changed the structure of the whole entire premise of what Snow White is. Snow White needs the princess to come save, the prince to come save her. That's part of her story. That's a very, very important part of her story. You know, I never knew anything about the prince, or whoever that guy is. Every time I've ever went through the story of Snow White, I've only ever remember him kissing her, and that's it. I don't know nothing else he was doing. So in no way did they make the old interpretation where the prince in any way overshadowed Snow White. I also have never seen the cartoon, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. Like, I've seen like bits and pieces. So that's probably why also. Because it's Snow White. Why the hell would I watch it? Anyway. I also never seen Bambi. Throw that out there. I also never see Bambi. I just want to throw that out there. All right, let me get back on track. I haven't been doing a lot of lives lately because I'm just not here right now. But I'm here. You get it? So I'm doing the best I can. I got something else going on up here. And it's just absolutely monopolizing my time and my bandwidth. Yeah, so it's just killing my bandwidth. That's the best way I could put it. In any regard, let's get back to what we're talking about. So the Democrats have been trying to socially engineer and have socially engineered the American population, primarily the black people, for many years. I was socially engineered also to believe that whatever the Democrats was doing, it was for a good reason, because whatever the Republicans was doing, even though it sounds good, in the long run, it was going to screw us over. And I believed all of the propaganda that the Democrats was putting out, which now I know most of it to be erroneously extremely incorrect. Like, what in the hell? How did I even go for that? Like, to that level of I can't believe it. You understand what I'm saying? That's another reason why I say I don't hold anything against people who still are Democrat. I don't think you should change your party affiliation. I just think you should vote the way that you appreciate to vote. I think your party affiliation is more of a identity of who you are as an individual, as an American citizen. I think the way you vote is the way that you are determining that you want the country to go in. So if you're a Democrat, I don't see anything wrong with voting Republican and vice versa. So I don't think people should just be like, oh man, you know what, them Democrats, I'm done's. I don't think anybody should necessarily be doing that. If you feel like doing that, do that. I think that's your right also. But what I do think, first of all, the Democratic Party got to get their shit straight. We'll talk about that in 1 second, but hold on. What I do think is that people should vote the way that helps your household. That's it. That's what I think you should do. Vote the way that helps your household. If this election, that Republican is the changes that they're gonna make is gonna benefit you, then you should vote for them, independent of who you are, pun not intended. So the mayor has changed his party affiliation and he has moved to independent. We was having a conversation on that. I don't remember which way I said he was going to go. But I told y'all he was going to leave the Democrats. He has no choice because the Democrats aren't going to put him up as another nomination. Get it? Because in order for him to keep the trust of the people, he has to go against the thing the Democrats want to do. Do you get it? All of those mayors that was in those sanctuary cities, they donezo. I need for y'all to understand that the individuals that are actually in favor of the stuff that the Democrats are talking about, whether they're not in favor of any of that stuff. I want to be clear about this. These people aren't in favor of any of that stuff. They just hate Trump. I said this before. They don't care what happened. They don't care how many people die. They don't care if half the world die. They don't care. They don't care if Satan literally comes down and says, y'all know y'all working for me, right? They don't care. They don't care. Not all of them, obviously. I'm talking about the radical fanatics. They don't care. I'm going to explain something that's about to happen. You know those people that have been attacking them Teslas? Their lives are about to be so screwed up over nothing. They're making anti-Musk fucking bills and laws and shit. So that when you do something to a Tesla, it's seen as like a hate crime. You understand? Better pay attention. Coincidentally, while the Democrats are the only ones drawing swastikas, there are people that are damaging their Tesla on purpose. There's a lady that damaged her Tesla on purpose. I think she wanted to get it like fixed somewhere or something, and she damaged her own Tesla. And the cop is like, the cop is talking about this shit at the prep part of my language at the press conference, and the cop is like, he blames the Democrats. He says, you know, they're making people sick. What have I been telling you? He said they're making people sick. They didn't even. There was another lady. Hold on. Wait. Let me remember if I'm remembering the story right. There is people damaging other people's Teslas. But there is also a story. I mean, damaging their own Tesla. I believe that was the story. But I think this is the story I'm talking about. Pardon me. Like I told you, my mind is somewhere else. I'm trying, y'all. My mind is absolutely so. This just sucks. In any regard, so. This one lady scarred this person's Tesla up. And then when they called the cops, they found the lady. And the lady that owned the Tesla said she didn't even want to press charges. She just wanted the person to fix the Tesla. So that's what a cop was saying. The Democrats are making people sick. This is why I keep trying to tell y'all, don't watch content where people are just speaking hate. I promise you, you just listening to Satan. I promise you. Whenever you are engaging in content that's just negative talk, hateful speech, I promise you, you are being spoken to from Satan and one of his disciples. This is why I keep telling y'all, stay away from content like that. That high that you getting is Satan and being invading your body. This is real talk. They be like, oh, that's why I respect Star. Because he trolls. But a lot of what these dudes is doing is not trolling. They're just doing Satan's work. They going and finding a platform that's trying to give out a good message, and they're trying to destroy any platform that's trying to give out a good message. They work for Satan. And that's why when they not talking about one platform, they talking about another platform. Because Satan got them. You know when God is with somebody. Because even though whatever trials and tribulations they going through, they're always emitting positive energy. Because God is with them. Well, I just want to just take a second to say, thank you to God for all my blessings. I know sometimes I conduct myself in a manner that gives the perception like I don't appreciate the blessings in which I have, but I do. And I also appreciate the blessings that are yet to be received. And I promise to do everything that I can to conduct myself in the most appropriate way possible to protect any blessing that God gives to me. Period. Amen. We go our whole day and sometimes we forget to talk to God. I'm not even talking about thanking him. I'm talking about talking to him. We might go a whole entire day. When was the last time you spoke to God? I didn't say think to God, just so we could be clear. When was the last time you spoke to God? Verbalize the words. Remember, words is where the power exists. It says it in the Bible. In the beginning, it was God. And the word was with God. And the word was God. All things was made by him. And without him, nothing was made. Jesus. Just so we could be clear. Shout out to the Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. Just so we could be clear. Let's get back to what we're talking about. So these Democratic mayors are screwed. They're done. That lady in Boston, she's not going to get reelected. You see, they surround themselves with people that keep telling them they're doing the right thing, while they doing all of the BS, all of the worst shit you could think of, while they cultivating hate. And yes, they are. Because if they are allowing for people to come into the country, or pardon me, if people are coming into the country, and then while coming into the country, they're trying to usurp the authority of the authorities of the country, and you're trying to protect them, and you're a whole public official, that is the opposite of your job. Literally. Imagine us having a super severe gang problem in New York City, and the feds come in, and now they looking for some big bad gang member guy. You know, he's probably like a Rambo type dude. He's done like took out like a SWAT team all by himself or something. You know what I'm saying? He was like damn near seen jumping from 5th story building into the river or something. You know, he was just doing absolutely spectacular things. So they had to call the FBI. Then the FBI gets here, and the mayor says, we're going to protect our citizens. That's literally what they're doing. They have people coming from other countries that are whole gang members. They're the dregs of the other country, coming into our cities where we live, creating confusion amongst our already confused community. And then when the police show up, me and you might get arrested, but they won't, because the mayor doesn't want ICE to deport them. Could I get an explanation? I need to know how that works. With all due respect. I want to segue into something else real quick. I know I'm all over the place. You know how they're shipping these terrorists to other countries and jails in other countries? Remember, don't forget, I told y'all, they're going to send people from here over there. I told y'all before, they're going to send people from over there, American citizens. They're going to ship niggas out of the country. I promise you. And a lot of these people that get shipped out of the country, don't be surprised when it's your 20-year-old sons and daughters, when it's your 19-year-old sons and daughters, because they done went and did a crime. Now they got 40 years. And we just going to ship them out of the country because it's just going to be so much cheaper. You know, in that other country, you know, as much as it'll cost us to house them for a week here, in the other country, we'll house them for like 8 months. So much cheaper. What do you think is going to happen? So I was having a conversation the other day, and we segued to something else, and I'm just going to end it right now or continue it for a second. And I'm going to bring it down to a micro level, and instead of talking about the whole entire United States of America, I'm just going to speak on any individual community. It doesn't have to be the community I'm living in. I'm just saying any community per se. So the energy that we resonate when we're around one another creates things. This sounds crazy. I get it. But it does. That's why when you're with the people that you love, good things usually are happening. And that's why when you're around people that don't like you, even if you don't have anything against them, 6 of them, 1 of you, they don't like you, it always seems like weird things might be happening to you. weird things, whether they're good or they're bad, because God protection exists. So the energy that we cultivate does make things happen. Remember, everything's a frequency. I don't want to say too much, because it's gonna, certain things when you speak, it sounds like it's crazy, but then when you pay closer attention and you look at some of the architecture that was going on, but then we have to also admit that black people lived in America before Christopher Columbus got here. So that's a whole nother conversation. So this is what I mean by sometimes I can't have certain talks, because it's going to lead to some things that then we're going to be going back and forth about the validity of history. Like I told you before, I don't believe what we learn in social studies in school is accurate. I believe that a lot of that information that they're giving to us is actually inaccurate. And that's one of the ways that they keep us mentally headlocked. My whole entire time in elementary school, nobody told me, at least to my understanding, that Dr. Martin Luther King was a Republican. I had no idea. Why isn't that something that's highlighted when we talk about him? Because that has something to do with his faith and his beliefs. He was conservative. Well, the real reason why they would never do that is because they don't want you to be conservative, because the more conservative you are, the harder you are to control. They ain't got no more coffee. And if you don't believe that to be a fact, it was said somewhere, I don't remember, that Christians are the hardest people in the world to control. Like when Christians are in you're not going to be able to control them. They're going to stick to their word. Fam, I'm just telling you what was out there. In any regard, let's go talk about this thing. So anyway, New York City, Eric Adams admitted during a podcast on Wednesday that he believes that the deep state is real. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there's a permanent government. Adams told Andy Schultz on his Flagrant podcast, there are people that see presidents, mayors come and go. Their attitude is, we'll wait you are out. So real quick, so we can get an understanding about what he's saying right here, I'm going to highlight this specifically. We'll wait you out. He's talking about the people that get appointed. So let's say you have a president, and the president gets in the office, and there is, president runs the IRS. All of these agencies is under the executive branch, just for the people that don't know. Because, people don't even know how any of this stuff works. They just tell you you're wrong, or they just laugh at what you're saying. They don't know none of this stuff. And anyway, in any regard, almost all of these agencies that they've been talking about exist under the executive branch. And that's why they're busy saying that a judge doesn't even have the power to say that Trump can't ship anyone out of the country. People who are illegals out of the country. Judge doesn't have the power to do that, because all of the power of the executive branch rests in the president. So real quick, just so we can be clear, that's literally, I believe that's what it says verbatim. Hold on. No. First of all, that is not how you spell executive. How did I do that? Sheesh. I hate when I do that. And that's definitely wrong. Okay, well. Where does it land? I mean, I know what I'm trying to say, but for some strange reason, it's just the vernacular. Anyway, the power rests The power of the executive branch of the United States federal government is vested in the President of the United States. So everything, what up, LLC? We feeling, we chilling, we doing what we do, fam. Any questions you got, put it in the chat. And then as always, if anybody is appreciating the show, you can pull up. So the executive branch, just so we can be clear, as outlined in Article 2 of the Constitution, this article establishes the executive branch and specifically states that the executive power shall be invested in a president of the United States. So that means all of these branches are under the president. So no one has the authority to say that he can't ship them out of the country. You get it? All of the power of the executive branch rests in the president. Period. So the executive branch, president, vice president, the cabinet, heads of various departments, and numerous federal agencies. Trump is in charge of these things. Law enforcement. What did I always tell y'all? I always say this. Trump, the president, is basically the highest, the last word in law enforcement in the country, whether it's police and any agency. So no judge, imagine you are the president of the United States. You know what? Let's change that. Imagine you're not the owner-operator, but you're one of the McDonald's people that has actual 51% stake in the company. You are the majority owner of well, not 51 stake, well, whoever the majority owner is of McDonald's. Everybody in the world know that you are the majority owner of McDonald's. It's not a secret. Everyone knows. You go into a McDonald's and you see somebody doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So you go to the manager who knows who you are and you say, that person has to be fired. And they tell you no. I don't have to fire anyone. I'm going to go speak to some random other people who have authority somewhere else but have no authority over here and tell them what you're trying to do. So the courts have no authority. Whatever injunction that judge did means nothing. It's less than nothing. He wasn't even supposed to give it. It's not even something that he could have had a hearing on. It's not even something that he could have had a session on. Like, it's not even something that should have been talked about in his courtroom, except for if somebody was like speaking about it at, what do you think about this? Like, that's it. That's the only conversation that should have been had. This is how the Democrats have been controlling everything. They've been putting judges in positions. They've been putting people in positions inside of the government that won't get fired. That don't get elected. So they'll have that job for 20 years. But they really work for the Democrats. And not just the Democrats, but the far left agenda. That part. Let's talk about, I got something else up on here also. Told you he was going to switch though. All right, we got to talk about this. Rappers are being targeted. There's a reason why I want to talk about this also. So rappers are being targeted. Expect All right, hold on. I'll finish the Adams story because I we've spoken about it before, but I don't know who was here before, so I'll finish the Adams story real quick. We finished the Adams story. Yeah, we finish it. So basically, what's going on for everybody that don't know? Eric Adams has said that he's not going to be a Democrat anymore. He's going to be changing his party to independent. The reason why he is obviously not going to be a Democrat anymore because he needs for the party to back him. The party is obviously not going to back him because he's been going against the party. The reason why he's been going against the party is because they've been putting cases on him. So he gets into an interview that he's having. And in this interview, Adam Schultz, in this interview, he's, saying a couple of things. And one of the things that he's talking about is the deep state. And he says, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there's a permanent government. He says that they basically say, we'll wait you out because your term is going to end and we're still going to have power. So do you really want to have beef with us? Adams, who said on Monday that he's leaving the Democratic Party to run as an independent, I don't know how that is going to work. But because remember, Trump has to back the Republican 9 times out of 10. Like, Trump is going to back whoever Trump is going to back. Trump will back a Democrat. Trump will back an independent. He'll just do whatever he's going to do. But we have to assume that there's a better chance that he's going to just back the Republican rather than back Adams. That would be a common assumption. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was always the plan. And now he's going to back Adams. In any regard. Adams, who said on Monday that he's leaving the Democratic Party to run as an independent in his re-election campaign, praised FBI Director Kash Patel's 2023 book, Government Gangsters, the Deep State, the Truth, the Battle for Our Democracies. After Schultz said the term deep state is used too much, Adam told him it's not used too much. It's real, brother. They went after him. Goes on to say Kash is in the Department of Defense. Kash was in the Department of Defense, DOD. I'm just assuming he said DOD and they just wrote that. He was in the FBI. He prosecuted terrorists. So he comes with the wealth of knowledge, and the way he breaks it down is just unbelievable. What's this deep state is about and why it's so important for Americans that we cannot have a weaponizing of our prosecutorial prowess. As you could tell, that's obviously what the issue Adams had. They came after him, the deep state, once again, the Democrats. Adams also brought up that the U.S. Attorney's Office from the Southern District of New York, SDNY, has prosecuted him for bribery. Under the Biden administration, the charges allege Adam used his title to get illicit campaign donations and opulent travel from Turkish foreign nationals. We don't need to look at that. That was bullshit. I remember that. Justice Department requested the charges be dropped and the case be dismissed with prejudice, meaning the charges can't be brought back up again. Now imagine the Southern District of New York. That there's one of the most powerful U.S. attorney's offices in their mind. They said, we're sovereign. You know what that means? That they don't answer to anybody. That they don't have to answer to that they don't have to answer to anyone. They don't have to answer to the president. They don't have to answer to the U.S. attorney in Washington, the attorney general in Washington. They believe they're a sovereign entity. And that's basically what the deep state believes. And that's basically what he's talking about right here. Oh, come on. You're not elected. Adams said said of the SDNY. You know what I'm saying? Imagine an entity believing they don't have to answer to anyone. And that's what Trump is going after. And that's why they're so pissed. That's what Trump is going after. He's going after all of those people who are in places or positions of authority that was screwing him over his first time when he was president. And that's why they was fighting so hard to not let him be president again. Because he has to dismantle everything that they got going on in order for him to be able to create his legacy. Pay attention. People be really upset too. Like, they be really angry at you. And then I just want to be clear. I remember growing up, and part of being a Democrat was basically saying the Republicans are just, they don't have no manners. Like they are everything that the Democrats are right now. Everything that they are right now is what I used to hear. That's how we spoke about Republicans. That's why it was so easy to stay a Democrat. Because every time we see a Republican, to us, it looks like they're having a fucking manic attack. But in reality, now that I look back on it, a lot of those things was them just not believing that some motherfucker was so stupid. Because I'm just going to be honest with you. The fact that the Democrats made the crime bill, everybody knows how devastating the crime bill was to our communities. And then electing Biden. I mean, I thought the electing Obama was bananas. Like, almost. You know, I was just like, I saw him, I was like, this guy's just too charismatic. But just to be honest with you, he shouldn't have been elected because Biden was on his ticket. Just being honest with you. I think the reason why Biden was on his ticket because they was trying to tank him. I mean, when did Biden get added to the ticket? Let me say that much. Like, when did he get added? He got added after Hillary got knocked off. So maybe that's not the reason. Yeah, he got added after Hillary got knocked off. I believe. Because there was still people that was like, he should make Hillary the vice president. And he was like, nah, she could become the Secretary of Defense. And then next thing you know, Obama dropped the most the most freaking bombs on people ever. I want to get to this gang thing, so let's get through this real quick. So that's basically what is going on with Eric Adams. Shout out to Eric Adams. I don't know what's gonna be for him in the future. I do believe that he want to do what's good for America. Just so we could be clear, I do believe that. Like I do believe that Eric Adams want to do what's right for New York City. I to say this again, and I've been saying this the whole entire time. We could go back to all the videos where we spoke on this. Right after they started, right at the point where Eric Adams said, because I was absolutely dogging Eric Adams, because I was like, this guy's an idiot. But I was like, I started telling y'all, yo, look, I don't think he likes what's going on, remember? And then, like a month after I started telling y'all that, all of a sudden, he tried to go down and have a conversation with Biden. And what ended up happening was, when he was going to the airport, they went and raided his home and raided the home of his campaign manager. And that's where all of these charges started coming from. So he never went down there to talk to Biden so he could try to fix the problem. And now that what we know about Biden, we know why they didn't want him to go down there. Do y'all remember something that I had told y'all? And I said this, the video still exists. It's up. And the video is in the same conversation we're having right now. I told you the reason why I think they didn't want him to go to Biden, because I don't think Biden, one, I don't think Biden know everything that they were doing. And two, I don't think Biden is all there. And I said, I believe the reason why they stopped him from going to Biden, because he needed to be in front of Biden where he could get Biden to sign the thing he needed Biden to sign. If he would have been able to get in front of Biden, he could have got it done. You understand what I'm saying? So they just didn't even want him to be in front of Biden. So they did a thing to just prevent him from going down to D.C., period. Remember I told y'all that? And then right after that happened is when I told y'all, he's done with the Democrats. The Democrats is done with him. Right after that. And look at everything that happened. I told y'all Trump was going to come to his aid. What happened? Trump came to his aid. I told y'all, before that, I told y'all he didn't want all the migrants here. He been trying to get rid of them niggas. Part of my language. He been trying to get rid of the illegals. I don't have a problem with migrants. Shout out to migrants. Those are the guys that's doing it the legal way, right? I don't have a problem with them. Shout out to them. Zero problem. Like, and that's another thing. I'm going to tell you the number one reason why I don't trust Democrats. And when I say I don't trust these type of Democrats. You know, when you say, yo, I hope they ship the illegals out, and the first thing they assume is, you want them to go into the schools. Like, what are you talking about? Like, are you crazy? You want them to go to people's jobs. Nah, man. What are you talking about? You crazy? They had a whole projects over there in Colorado that now when you go there, all the buildings are boarded up because that Trindagra, I don't even know if I said that name right, gang from, I think, Venezuela went up there and just started kicking people out of their apartments. Like, what part of this don't you understand? We got MS-13 that's been running rampant in Long Island for years. Years on top of years on top of years. And nobody was really doing anything about it unless they did something really violent, and then they'll go arrest one of them and leave all of the rest of them alone. Trump is snatching all of them niggas and shipping them out. I don't understand where the problem is. Do y'all remember when they was... I'm trying to remember what case it was. Was it the... Was it the Rollo case? I can't remember what case it was. But there was a case in Atlanta where they had went and got some stash houses and then accidentally also found some Mexican stash houses because they started going after the cartel over there. I think it had something to do with Rollo. I'm not like, I think it was around that time. Like whatever was going on with Rollo, it was around that time. So why don't we want to get these people out of here? Why are the Democrats fighting so hard to keep illegals? I don't want to hear they didn't commit a crime. They committed a crime when they came into the country illegally. That was already a crime. Just so we could be clear. Some dude got kicked and then he retracted his message. You already kicked. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I'm not concerned about, he made a comment about me not currently being in a relationship with a woman. I mean, that's the only person I'm going to be in a relationship with. We're not doing nothing else. I kicked him. And I'm like, yeah, but what do your woman look like? How does she treat you? Because the same dudes that want to always talk about how somebody else ain't getting no, right? The same dudes, you ain't even the king of your own castle, fam. Same dudes. And most of y'all don't have a girl. You just talk about how another nigga don't got no girl, which is weird. So I just want to just say this. A lot of y'all not the king of your own castle. I have never lived in a castle and not been the king. You know, except for like when I was living with my like father or some shit. Or like I'm talking about, I've never lived with a woman and not been the king of the castle, fam. Some of y'all not even the king of your own castle. I'm just going to put it like that. Just gonna put it like that, man. Some of y'all don't even know how to become the king of your castle. I'm gonna put it like that. You get it. She get it. Like, she get it. Like, let's say your girl right now is looking at the comment that you just wrote, fam, if you have one, and she's listening to me talk. She get it. Anyway, we gotta get ready to go anyway. We gotta get ready to go anyway. She get it though. I promise you, she get it. Never lived in the house with a woman and I've been the king of the castle, man. I'm just, never. Always lead with kindness. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you a jewel. Always lead with kindness. Even when you gotta be firm. Always lead with kindness. Alright? When you have your woman, you got to lead her with the understanding that the first thing is protection. Always lead with kindness. Alright? Which I like yelling and screaming at women. They're like, you're not listening! Like, well, maybe you should learn how to speak. Maybe this isn't a listening moment for her. Maybe this is a talking moment for her. You gotta let her talk. Let her talk. Maybe this is a listening moment for you, so you can learn how to treat her, so that she'll be receptive to your behavior. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just saying. Two-way street. In any regard. I'm just saying, fam. I'm a really, really good boyfriend or husband or whatever. I've had a woman come on here and state that and then list it. I'm not going to be out there just dating anybody, fam. I don't want to go crazy. These women nowadays is bananas. Niggas be bananas too, but I'm not dating niggas, so I don't care. Oh, man. I had this gay dude try to pick me up last night. This shit was bananas. Shit was bonkers, fam. I hate going outside. So I'm walking. I just want to make this clear. I'm just a guy who is attracted to one woman at a time. That's it. That's really just it. It's not rocket science. Okay? It's not rocket science. If I already like someone, then I'm not going to like anyone else. It's not rocket science. I don't know why I work that way. I have no idea why I work that way. But that's the way I work. It's not rocket science. I have no idea why I work that way. None. I don't even mind it, by the way. Also, just so we can be clear. I don't mind it. It's not something I'm upset about. When I'm in a relationship, it's really, really good. Like, really good. So, yeah, it's not nothing I'm upset about. I know one thing. Whoever the next woman that I date is, she better be prepared to be absolutely just loved like nobody ain't never loved her before. I got a lot of catching up to do. That was not meant to be a pun, by the way. I just want to throw that out. That was not a joke or any kind of euphemism, not a pun. That was not a euphemism of any kind. That was just really real talk. Yeah, man. It's just the way that I am, man. It is what it is. I never think I'm missing out on nothing. Like I don't look at the world like that. All right, so we're about to get up out of here. So there's something I want to say. Rappers are currently being targeted. I told y'all that gangs and rappers was going to be, hey, what's up, Miss McGillicuddy? Yeah, all is great. I told y'all that rappers were going to be targeted. I told you this a while back. This is something that I was talking about before. But there's a new caveat. So first I'm going to explain how I know rappers are being targeted. Why do you think Big U was arrested? Why do you think, what's homeboy from Houston that they just arrested? Yeah, like that Yella, I think something his name is, something Yella. He just got arrested also for the Mo 3 situation. You're going to see a lot of this happening now. Fannie Willis tried to get Young Thug back in jail. Back caught up. You're going to see a lot of this. They're going to start coming for all of you niggas. Now, there's a YouTube content creator that have for the longest been trying to tell people, be safe out there. Get away from committing crimes. It's starting to come for people. I promise you. They've already been coming for y'all. See, I should have known. Little Dirt. You think he ever getting out? Young Thug should be concerned with the fact that they might be trying to, that he better be hoping that Chicago don't come try to pick him up and extradite him back over there for some bullshit that he don't know about. Because I don't think people really understand how RICOs work. Y'all niggas been on the phone talking about God knows what and sharing who knows what information. You don't know what information that you shared with that individual that they acted on. You could have just shared some random old information with the fool about a thing, and then that person was like, jokes, pull up, do what he got to do, and then the next thing you know, now you getting hauled into the damn RICO because they saying you set it up. And you can't even say you didn't set it up because you're a known gang member. Just so we could be clear. I give away so much good information on how to stay out of jail. And a lot of it has to deal with not necessarily being a crime-free individual, but knowing that there are a limit to the criminality that you should be involved in. If you're not ready to do 5 years, don't do a 5-year crime. You know, if people conducted themselves like that, there would just be less crime. If a person was like, you know what? The chances of me being caught is higher than the chances of me getting away. That's 5 years. I might not want to do that. I might not want to sit up with a whole bunch of people seeing balls and eggplants by accident, obviously, because we ain't doing it on purpose. For the next 5 years. This is not my plan. People thought like that, less crimes would be committed. Especially less savage crimes. So I'll be watching those videos on YouTube and whatnot, where the people will be coming in the interaction with the police and then get arrested or whatever the case, right? Pulled over in a cop car and in the car driving. There's a couple of things that always happens. One of the number one things that always happens is they swear that they know their rights. None of you know your rights. None of you. There's like 5% of the people that say that they know their rights. Matter of fact, people that know their rights don't even say that they know their rights. They just start spewing off their rights. They don't say I know my rights. They just start citing shit. And the police be like, oh. But when you say, I know my rights, they say, hey. Because they know you don't know nothing. Stop saying you know your rights. Actually know your rights. You know what? I be driving around in my car. I better know what the statutes and the limitations and whatever else. Matter of fact, this is the way I'm going to learn it by accident. I'm going to make sure that my teens know it. So my teens know what to say when the cops pull them over, and they don't have to, they're going to call me, but they need to know their rights. Because civics doesn't exist in schools anymore, apparently. Shout out to the government. Not a real shout out. Sometimes you just got to see this stuff and you just got to be like, fams. They are about to start sending so many people out of this country because the energy needs to change. Earlier in the show, I was talking about communities, and we got sidetracked and I went off to the left. I need a co-host. I ain't gonna lie to you. I be getting sidetracked. I gotta also start keeping down notes so I can stay focused. Like my mind is just somewhere else right now, and I'm literally looking at something else this whole entire show. Like, I don't know how y'all brains work, but like when I think of things, like I could visually, conceptually see them. So whether it's a person or a thing or something like that, it's in my eyesight. Like it's, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, so what's about to start happening, whether people understand or notice or not, is they are going to start shipping people out of this country that are American citizens to other countries to go do your jail time. So I was having a conversation earlier and I was talking about the energy in the community. I'm going to tell you, because I've lived in a lot of different places, that when you have the neighborhoods that everybody walk around talking about each other in a negative way, everybody walk around having negative energy, doing negative things, you're going to be able to see it when you're looking at the community, even when the people aren't present, because there's an energy about it. I lived in the Bronx in the 80s, and I'm going to tell you, you felt the despair. It was palpable. It was tangible. You felt it. You felt the hopelessness that many people felt. Sometimes it makes me sad, because I think of people who I know that suffered and they were good people, and they just don't have the opportunity to see a better day. And that makes me sad sometimes. You know? You don't really never know what somebody is dealing with. I don't know why we can't be human to each other. I don't get it, you know? But when I was a child, and I was in elementary school, I lived between Park Avenue, 181st and 182nd in the Bronx. It's a desolate area in the middle of nowhere. In that period of time, I mean, I can't. I mean, this is just something like I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't think. It's just probably something you got to look at yourself so you can understand. This is how my neighborhoods look. Like, real talk. This is how the neighborhoods look. The block you walk down every day. This is where places, like, this is literally places that we'd play. You know, you go in buildings like that right here. The buildings like this one, this is where you catch the pigeons, because, you know, pigeons got nests and stuff like that in these buildings. But when you go in these buildings, you know, the stairs fall out from under you. Like, they just, a lot of these buildings was fired, you know. This is, you felt it, you know. That's why I try so hard when I'm walking to have positive energy. I'm not always successful. I have bad days. I have bad weeks. But I remember this. I remember when the streets looked like this. That's in the museum. This photo right here is in the Bronx Hip Hop Museum. or at least this street. There's a lot of photos in the Bronx Hip Hop Museum on that street. Remember when we went there a while back? So this is where we played at. You know? This is where we played at. So my youth was a lot different than what these kids nowadays go through. They think they got it tough. They got it, hard. I'm not trying to shit on or speak down or whatever difficulties that, difficulties change with the time, But imagine living on a street where there's like only 2 buildings that are not abandoned and all the other buildings on the whole entire block are abandoned. That wasn't my situation, but I did know people that did have that situation. Every building on the whole block is abandoned like this. Look. These are all abandoned buildings. Then they have like one building in the whole entire block. Look at this shit. Look. Those were buildings. Those lots were buildings. Many buildings, as you can see, because look at the size of that building. So what was this? 3, 4 buildings? Another 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 buildings on each one of these corners, maybe? People don't know how. You gotta protect things. Things are precious. Even though I know sometimes we don't know what to protect and what to not protect, But God will tell you. God will tell you. Any regard. So we got to do better in our communities. We just got to do better. We got to try harder to be kind to one another. I know it's difficult. I get it. But we got to try harder to be kind to one another. We got to try harder to have compassion. Empathy. We've created an entire generation of kids that seem to have no remorse, no empathy. I'm not even talking about sympathy at this point. They don't have no empathy. Forget being able to feel sorry for another person. They don't even have the ability to put themselves into another person's shoes. And that's what we're raising. That's what's being raised. It's like zero accountability. If you talk about accountability, then everybody want to hold you accountable while still holding no one else accountable. So it's a slippery slope. But hold people accountable. Anyway, we're gonna end the show. I want to apologize. My brain is just. I'm just not really. I'm gonna have to start. I think now I have to keep notes. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the show unless I have a script in front of me. My brain is just. I just can't focus. With that being said, look, I love y'all. Go out into the world. Do something worth doing. Put God's name on it. Let people know that you come in the name of the Most High. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. # Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I got on this one. I'm out.
Hey! Is the noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Fair enough.